My name is John Flowers, and I've been interested in nature ever since I was a little kid. I would go wandering off in the woods and grasslands and just looking at things and collecting nice rocks and nice pieces of wood and looking at the birds. And it's just been a part of my life and from when I was a little bitty kid. And I got involved with useful wild plants because I went to a workshop in South Texas, or East Texas, and Scooter Cheatham was giving a talk, and he was talking about how many plants were edible and medicinal, and so you could enjoy walking through the woods and eating while you went. So that struck me as a fun thing. And I got involved with useful wild plants and have gone on a number of weed feeds with Scooter and have enjoyed it very much. It's expanded my horizons a whole lot. And so besides enjoying the spiritual qualities of nature and the peace and quiet of nature and just seeing and the aesthetics of nature, it's also, there's a part of my scanning is looking for food too. So it added another dimension to it. So I would like to talk about the role of plants in helping to overcome climate change and prevent the destruction of the planet. Let's look at the challenge before us. Since 1990, over 10 billion acres of forest have been lost through conversion to other land uses and cutting down. That's 10 billion acres. We are losing over 24 million acres every year. As a result, there is a danger of a tree species going extinct. Danger of tree species going extinct. In the 2019 IUCN Red List of Threatened Species, 20,334 tree species are considered threatened and 8,056 are considered critically endangered. Why are forests so important? Trees are valuable for many reasons. Obviously, food, lumber, but besides other products like that, they create soil and make the soil nutrient rich, which is very important. They slow down the flow of rain that hits the leaves and filters down through the ground, and therefore a lot of the washing away that occurs when there's no trees there doesn't happen. It saves the soil and prevents flooding. And also, because it absorbs things, trees reduce pollution. Also, a very important thing is plants release oxygen, trees release oxygen in the atmosphere and release water through transpiration, so that it modifies the whole climate of the forest. And it creates shade that affects the whole environment under the trees, and also when it creates shade in cities, it reduces the temperature and makes for a more pleasant living environment. Another thing that it does is trees capture carbon through photosynthesis and lock it up in trees, roots, and soil. And this is one of the most powerful tools that trees can have in fighting against climate change. A woodland ecosystem, including trees, leaves, dead wood, soils, and associated plants, can capture 160 tons of carbon per acre. That is a lot. So an acre of trees is pulling over 160 tons of carbon and sequestering it in the trees and in the soil. Therefore, planting trees should be a top priority in every country. Let's look at the rest of the plant kingdom. A report by plant scientists from Kew Gardens in London and the University of Stockholm succinctly described the importance of plants. And I love this quote. Plants underpin all life on Earth. They provide the oxygen we breathe and the food we eat, as well as making up the backbone of the world's ecosystems. So plant extinction is bad news for all species. Millions of other species depend upon plants for their survival, humans included. Plants are not only key parts of the diets of humans, but also the diets of many of the animals that humans eat. We all need plants directly or indirectly. One of the most important uses of plants is in providing the basis for many of the drugs that are critical in the practice of modern medicine. According to medicinal botany, a full 40% of the drugs behind this pharmacist's counter in the Western world are derived from plants that people have used for centuries, including the top 20 best-selling prescription drugs in the United States today. The botanist James Duke has indicated, however, that many pharmaceutical companies are trying to create synthetic variants. Some researchers have cautioned that the body is not always able to assimilate or use the synthetic version as well as the natural plant, because our bodies evolved eating plants and animals rather than synthetic chemicals with structures similar to the natural phytochemical structures found in nature. This is a good reason to use plants for food and herbs for medicine when possible. This is also one of the reasons why there's so many side effects with drugs. They are chemicals created in the laboratory, and they're not found in nature, so we did not evolve eating these kind of drugs, these kind of chemicals. What about the state of the plant kingdom at this time? In the past 250 years, nearly 600 species of plants have vanished from the wild. According to Damien Carrington, the environment editor of The Guardian, he said, 2 in 5 of the world's plant species are in risk of extinction as a result of the destruction of the natural world. Plants and fungi underpin life on Earth, but scientists say they are now in a race against time to find and identify species before they are lost. These were the untapped treasure chest of food, medicines, and biofuels that could tackle many of humanity's greatest challenges. In other words, these scientists are racing to find out the uses of these plants, and those that they find uses of, they will save. And that's important, to save those that are useful. There's another point of view about this also, which I'll get to. We need very much to avoid what Adrian Forsyth and Ken Miyata described in Tropical Nature as the possible coming of the dark age of biological simplicity. Coming of the dark age of biological simplicity, because that means fewer plants to use to create the future. Let me give an example. On page 136 of Volume 1 of the Useful Wild Plants of Texas, the southeastern and southwestern United States and northern Mexico, this is a wonderful collection of information about all the known uses of plants, and this When all these volumes are finished, it may be up to 5,000 plants that will have been looked at in great detail. So this is a magnificent production and very important for the future. But on page 136, there is a discussion of the agave glomeruliflora. It is only found in a few mountain ranges in the Trans-Pecos region of Texas and just a few places in northern Coahuila in Mexico. The species is very rare, and right now, because of global warming, there is drought throughout the southwestern part of Texas and Arizona, New Mexico, and this is spread to also to Washington and Oregon. There are forest fires that have been going for a number of years that have been wiping out vast amounts of land. If we had, because of this global warming, if we had a major fire that would sweep through this area of the Trans-Pecos and Coahuila, we could wipe out this one species completely. Each plant is a unique combination of phytochemicals that make it different from every other plant. It could be that this particular agave has some phytochemicals that could help heal cancer, heart disease, diabetes, or some other disease. If this plant goes extinct, nature may never again create that particular phytochemical mixture, and we would never have this possibility for healing and other benefits if this agave glomeruliflora were to go extinct. Every plant is potentially useful to humanity. Every plant. We need all the help we can get because the challenges are formidable. Remember, in the first part of this article, mentioned that over 10 billion acres of forest have been repurposed or destroyed. Millions of acres have been lost because of diversity to monoculture like palm oil plantations or soybean farms, and in large portions of Latin America have lost their diversity to vast cattle ranching operations. And there's one other thing that one should make a note of. With the increase in world population, billions of acres of what once was land covered with plants and trees is now the impervious cover of roads, highways, commercial buildings, homes, apartment complexes, strip malls, and parking lots of our expanding cities all over the world. We have polluted our air, water, and soil, which has caused increased diseases and death in human populations, and which has accelerated global warming. Many scientists are predicting catastrophic consequences from our collective destructive actions. To put it another way, we are gradually making the earth uninhabitable. Besides many constructive approaches and actions that we should consider, let me suggest 3. 1, to combat global warming, a massive planting of trees all over the world would make a big impact. 2, It would be good to set aside wild, undeveloped places in every ecological zone all over the world to allow Mother Nature to preserve and develop the amazing diversity of life that will be important for the future. Third, it would be helpful for more and more of us to be open to and embrace the idea that all life is sacred. If we do that, our actions towards the earth will be different and the results will be different. Finally, it is unavoidable that human beings will tinker with the earth. They've been doing it since the beginning. But as naturalist Aldo Leopold once said, the first rule of intelligent tinkering is to save all the parts. We need to save as many species of plants as possible to create the future we want.